So Pittsburgh as a rising powerhouse in real estate arena, Pittsburgh's evolution to the tech arena and how Google and other key developers are now setting up residencies in the city. This is here it went black on me. I got to turn on my Kindle again. Okay. This, along with the medical field and advances that come out of Pittsburgh that truly are life-changing, that are taken across a global aspect in the nation. These are some of the biggest driving factors for the Pittsburgh market and have greatly changed the real estate in the areas such as the Strip District, North Side, Lawrenceville, East Liberty, and all the suburban areas as well. This has also made changes to what people are doing as far as in the environmental movement in these older buildings and new businesses coming about to update these beautiful older buildings to fit and modernize them, especially since there's the government kickbacks currently. Real estate, this then causes higher demand for residential and commercial properties and other emerging neighborhoods. A lot of these tend to be more mixed buildings where there is a combination of residential and small mom and pop shops. There has been a trend over the past year that there are more mom and pop shops popping up. Please also reference one of my older videos talking about the Pittsburgh realtors and how they are the least impacted across the nation, especially with everything going on between a NAR settlement and the housing markets. As far as the sustainability and green building practices, growing emphasis on the eco-friendly and energy-efficient buildings appeal to forward-thinking buyers and investors interested in sustainability. Potential shifts in market presence and development opportunities. So there's more businesses and stuff that are setting up to be more ergonomical and eco-friendly and that kind of stuff. So with how the tech and medical and sustainability buildings trend will shape the Pittsburgh's real estate market, this includes the architectural designs of buildings that were from the 1800s to much more modern looking buildings, which with futuristic all-in-one computer systems and stuff. So this truly makes Pittsburgh a complex and very super interesting city to invest in.
That was a good report.
Well, so where'd you guys like to go from there? We can talk about anything.
Oh yeah, and what do you think of the school community so far?
Stan, that's more of a question for you. What do you think about it?
What do you think of the community?
It really depends on what area in Pittsburgh we live in. We have such a wide range of different social economic statuses and classes here. And there's so many different cultures that are here in Pittsburgh. We actually have a cultural district here, and it really depends on what area in Pittsburgh you live in. We have had one of the issues that we have had with our public schools here. So we do have a lot of private schooling here too. Our public schools have had a lot of issues with budgeting. We do have migrants and a lot of refugees that have been coming here over the last decade. And we have a program here in Pittsburgh, No Child Left Behind. So that if we have any children here that are not doing well with school, the class doesn't move forward unless everybody moves forward. And we've had issues with just budgeting really for getting translators, because we have a lot of kids here that English is a second language for them. They're learning it new when they get here. And so over the past decade, some of our schools, our school districts on the rating scale they've been decreasing, but they've been continuously working at that. But with the private schools, there's so many private schools here too that have funding. You really have to have, like, the kids have to have grades to get into it, and they have a lottery for some of our charter schools here. The one really good thing that we have in Pittsburgh is if you have a kid that wants to do a trade, we have several different programs. Pittsburgh Promise program, which pays for anyone that has really good scholastic grades. It pays for a portion of their college for the first 2 years. And with the state of Pennsylvania, some of the grants we have here, also anyone could get at least up to an associate's degree for free with the Pell Grant that we have here. And a lot of our high schools have programs, they're called their magnet programs, that if you want to go to school for a trade, you actually can graduate from high school with a certificate in that trade. And they can send you to another technical school to get an advanced degree afterwards. Another thing we have here to do with our schools is we have a lot of healthcare centers here. And my background is actually healthcare. I've worked for UPMC and Allegheny Health Network in the past. And both of them have schools for nursing, and also they have agreements with our community college where they pay for students. They'll go into high schools and they will students actually shadow people in different healthcare professions here. And if they are interested in it, the healthcare institution will actually give them loan forgiveness and pay for their schooling for their first piece of their education up to their associate's degree, or to get an RN license, or if they want to work in imaging like an MRI tech or a surgical tech. They agree to work with that hospital for at least a year, and they actually pay for that. So we do recruit people for this. Not just the education that they get in the school, but it's the programs that we have. Somebody that really knows what they want to do, or the schools are really focused on helping school kids are what it is that they want to do, helping them to get funded to actually get these certificates and be certified with almost involved in getting that degree, that elementary degree.
If you need one of us to speak up, just holler out, because I know with me and Sin share the same microphone, it can be a little bit tricky for our voices to synchronize and volume.
Oh, I could hear everything. That was great. Thank you.
I was going to say a little bit more about what I was talking about earlier. Pittsburgh's also very industrial. It's a very blue collar type of city. Although the ways that the steel mills are slowly disappearing, there's other things coming up, especially everything medical related. Like, I work for a medical supply company, and I can't tell you how many, I couldn't even fathom trying to list them all. Like, there's that many medical supply companies and CNC metal shops and all that kind of stuff. So machining is a huge part of this in this market. There's, like I said, it's just a ton of blue collar workers in this area.
We have a lot of industrial parks here around the city, like actually here in McKees Rocks, which is technically not part of Pittsburgh, but it's still Allegheny County, 3 miles from Pittsburgh.
Oh, this meeting's for all of like Ohio, West Virginia,
So I mean,
Virginia.
we have so many industrial parks that are within 20, 30 minutes driving range. If you're going to go an hour, we have so many industrial parks.
Like, I can think of 6 off the top of my head, and those are just the big ones. Like, there's a lot of smaller ones that won't even really make my radar.
I mean, Amazon was a huge thing to bring people here. I live on 1.5 miles from an Amazon plant. When I order from Amazon, sometimes things are delivered several hours later. That's a a plus to living here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine because I live about 45 minutes north, and it's funny, just that little bit of difference. She'll get stuff potentially same day, and I won't see it for like 2 days.
That same complex that the Amazon is in, there is Berlin Furniture is there. There's a furniture shop.
I saw the Bob's Discount Furniture Warehouse just opened up back there too.
Chiquita has a big warehouse there. We have a lot of machine shops.
Is it true that you guys were getting thunderstorms last night?
Yeah, so after we ended Frank's thing, I started listening to the storm. It was raining, snowing, and thunderstorming all at the same time.
Oh.
Oh,
It was fun watching. I went outside for a little bit to watch it. I didn't stay out too long, but it was fun watching the lightning go through the snow.
Yeah, we had our first snow that actually laid on the ground. There was a little bit of ice under it because it rained a little bit last night. Honestly, you never know what a winter is going to be like in Pittsburgh for the last, I want to say 3 years or so. We had really easy winters. I think I actually only had to shovel on my house where my residence
Twice.
maybe like say 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and I only had the properties salted and stuff about 4 times.
Then there are years where it's
Yeah, and there's, like she said, there's certain years. I remember about 5 or 6 years ago, there was a couple years where it was like every other day you're getting 6 inches of snow.
we don't have hurricanes. So
We don't have
moving on to
hurricanes and we don't have Arctic tundra weather like lumberjack landlord.
So in specifically in Pittsburgh and Allegheny County, we have the highest number of snowbirds here. And that is our people that go down to Florida. And they learned out when they look at the census that specifically here, like we have such a large number of people that go to Florida over the winter and then come back to Allegheny.
I hope they're seagulls because that way they can swim.
Snowbird.
So, how long have you been investing in Pittsburgh?
I think double check with Sin, but I want to say it was 2018. Was it about that time, or is it
When I purchased my
when we started together? When we started on them together?
Oh yeah, I think it was
Yeah, because you purchased yours what, like no,
the one
maybe
that
3
I'm in
years
agreement
ago.
was in I think I closed in October of 20.
Me and her do different strategies. She does live-in house hacks, if that makes sense. So like she'll live in one and we'll renovate the whole thing while she's living there. And then she'll go out and buy another place and then rent out the one that she's in currently.
So the ones that I get though, they're not in really bad shape to begin with because I renovate my place. I renovated some space because work. And we do a lot of DIY stuff. So and I hate moving. So, 4 years. Moving sucks. Stuff never gets unpacked, and then you move and you buy some of the same stuff because you forget where you put it.
I don't think there's anyone out there that really enjoys moving. But so you're asking about the eviction. Did you want me to go further in depth on all that?
What all does that entail? Is the process fairly straightforward?
And it's going to be about 2.5 weeks.
that's pretty.
So like I posted, what was it, on the 15th of November? And they have 15 days from there to either pay up or move out. But if they decide to fight it, then that can drag it out to the next court hearing, which might take up to a month to get to. And then they have, I think it's most counties here, at least on the western side of the state, will give the person a chance to get caught up, which is only fair. But if they miss one payment, then after that, it's 1 week they're gone. And you can hire the sheriff in to escort them off the property. So it's not the quickest, but it's definitely not the slowest.
How much did that eviction cost you?
Smoothly, it's kind of like a best case scenario with everything that happened. It is going to cost around $800. And those properties aren't in the city of Pittsburgh, so it's a little bit less. But in the city of Pittsburgh, it's only about maybe $200 or $300 more.
Yeah, Jack has a good story. I have the bad story of the eviction.
Could you please explain what happened?
Sure, it's so I the tenant was always late paying, and it was with the previous property management I had, and I think after I actually switched property management just because I really didn't care for how they're doing things. And that's when I started the eviction with the new property management and I kind of used their resources. So it started, we first filed the eviction. Then what I realized is like calendar days versus like the court days. And that's pretty frustrating because it's like, okay, we'll get those dates down, but then you have to wait until like the Monday for the courts to process all the paperwork. And it's like filing the paperwork with the magistrate, then waiting for that paperwork to get processed. Then it's like getting the net judgment and then waiting for the appeal. And then after the appeal, it's it's just waiting. I think it's 10 days for them to leave. And then I think that was everything. I have to double check on all that, but I think for the lawyer fees, that was around, I want to say around 1,500. And at the end of it, the net judgment for was like around 4 grand, but I didn't see any of that. That's usually the case. And then when I talked to the lawyer, I said, in this scenario, would it even make sense to go to collections? The lawyer said, no, I don't think that's a good idea because collections are like 3 to 5K. So what you can do is you can file court of common pleas, which kind of follows their credit searches. So if they were to make any large purchases in the future, they would have to pay the net judgment first for them to make that large payment on maybe like a mortgage on a future property or anything like a car payment, getting a loan on a car payment, those type of things. But yeah, it's that part of it. Then it's like the marathon of just doing the turnover of the unit and get it rented out again.
Thank you so much for taking the time to explain all of that.
It's kind of good because we have Jack's self-managing side, and then we have me, out of state investor, having property management and their resources kind of handle everything.
Do you like your new property manager so far?
Compared to the last one, but I'm still trying to figure out systems and processes and how to manage and not micromanage. And it's been kind of tough for me. I'm just trying to figure things out as I go, and I'm it's kind of the thing where it's like I'm making mistakes, but I'm trying to learn from those mistakes and not repeat them. But it's I'm still in the process of just trying to figure things out right now because I've only been in it for about a year and a half now, and I have 3 single family homes.
I'm sorry, have you been investing in Pittsburgh for a year and a half, or is that your total investing career so far?
It's like total, yeah, it's like pretty much
my
when I
first
bought
one.
my first one.
That's kind of when I'm
That's kind
starting
of
the
when I'm
date of
starting
it.
the
Is
date
the
of
year and a
it
half.
is the year and a half.
Mm. Mm.
This might actually interest especially you, Mikey. But I'm teaming up with Renee, and I hate to say, but I forget the guy's name. I think it's Ray something. But I'm teaming up with the two of them. We're going to build a website that we can each use for our own real estate portfolio. It's going to have AI to talk to people and answer phone calls for us. And we're going to shoot videos. You know how Renee's always talking about the tenant serving landlord?
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so basically he has a bunch of videos and how tenants should handle them and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to put that all together on a website with the AI so we can just kind of duplicate it for all three of us. And I'm putting together some spreadsheets to help when it comes time to find your next investment property, where if you do your house inspections the way that lumberjack landlord tells you to do them, you can take the information that they give you and plug it into an Excel spreadsheet. And what your goal is to try and get as close to 100% as possible. And that I'm hoping that it would be pretty accurate for like the life, like when your next repair will be. I did a project like that when I was in college where basically it would tell you what your expected repairs could be of that medical device and how long it'd be to your average repairs, and all that kind of stuff. Because some machines they just break down more often. And it's not that make or model, it's just that machine in particular, and it would track all that. And that's kind of what I'm trying to duplicate with the rental properties.
No.
You can also start to down track, be like, okay, so I've popped 3 hot water tanks in the last 15 years. What's going on? Do I need to put in a water filtration system because the water's too hard?
Yeah, if you ever needed help changing a filter, let me know because that's all I do. All I do every day.
How did you hear about Lumberjack Landlord? Did you take any of his courses? Or do you just attend the Thursday live streams at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time?
Me and Mikey have both taken his course and the boot camp.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the course, but if I've almost never re-referenced anything from the boot camp. I look through Mikey's notes on different topics of different things I'm trying to look at, but that's as far as I have ever really gotten into it.
Was the course and boot camp helpful to you?
Sorry, the course was fantastic. I would definitely do the course, especially since you can keep reviewing it. The boot camp, it was good and it's further in depth, but I feel like you can get more or just as much out of his live streams for the most part. And Mikey might have a different viewpoint than me.
I definitely agree. And with for me, it's like the course and the boot camp, having those together is so powerful because the boot camp is like every week and they go 3 hours long. So when I kind of added all the hours up, it's pretty much 35 plus hours and you're pretty much in a small group. So there's so much, like Matt gets so detailed on everything and
Yeah, he
it's
does
like,
do that.
oh, yeah, it's like all open forum. So if like there's like really things you really want to get deep dives on, that is so powerful to have like one-on-one time with him because a lot of the major investors out there they're charging 500 for an hour, or it's like a grand for 12 boot camp sessions. That's like over 35 hours. So it's like really substantial.
Thank you so much, Mikey. You're awesome.
And you just tell your CPA that you took that course and can.
Can you tell us more about turnover and how long vacancies can last?
I think mine usually always take a little longer just because I always do repairs and stuff between them. So like I'm probably going to be down a month just before I even start advertising them. Like I know like the one that I had the eviction in, I'm going to put 2 walls up and a couple doors. So it can be a true 2 bedroom and not just you walk through a bedroom, you walk into a second bedroom and then just to get to the bathroom. But meanwhile, there's a dividing wall, but it's kind of all open at the same time, if that makes sense. So I want to give people their privacy because if I left it the way it is, I could probably get about, I want to say 950 for the place. But if I do that, I can get about 1200. So I'm not going to list it right away, get that done, and a couple other small things. And we should be able to get like 1250 for it. And I'm assuming we'll probably have it rented out within the following month or two.
Yeah, once they're listed,
Yeah.
just making repairs.
It's too hard to try and do a lot of stuff while tenants are in there.
Yes, it is.
They're in for a special treat. This is the first Christmas lights display ORAD event now.
This is actually a pretty small light display compared to some of the other ones that go on in the area, but this is a charity run. A lot. The money from this goes to it's a women's shelter.
And the park here.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pittsburgh is like a city that's full of towns, and this is just, I mean, you've seen us leave the restaurant basically like 10 minutes from downtown Pittsburgh, and we're already out in the country and in a Christmas lights display. So like you don't have to get far to actually get out into the country to enjoy stuff.
So we're actually in another county. We left the county we're in Beaver now.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part too.
So we're very close to, and there's actually a huge state park that's here that has a beach and a lake and really nice hiking. We have a lot of that in the area. It's not too far from the city.
You guys have to let me know how the lights are coming across on the stream.
Yes, thank you. We can see the lights.
I wasn't sure how I was going to come across.
Or if you guys could see more. I'm sure it's missing because it's on both sides of the road.
I'm glad you went today and not yesterday.
It would have been snowing pretty good.
Probably would have wrecked on the rain.
The first day of the year that this light show is open, well, those people turn their headlights. The first day that this is opened, they have it where you could actually rent a horse-drawn carriage. They have actually horse-drawn carriages that come through here. They did that. What was the last week in November? They did.
Is there anything else you guys would like to know about the market area?
What asset class do you invest in with real estate?
I personally do small multifamily. There's another guy, Steven, and he's looking to break into to commercial. I'm I'm waiting to get Cynthia to or get enough properties coming in. We have enough money where she can come work for the company and just quit her job. That way, and then at that point, we're going to, well, hopefully have her just work part-time. And we're either going to do a commercial property or we're going to start doing flips to buy commercial property because I want the second half of us becoming financially free to basically be one big thing and then just be done. So I'm already kind of looking at that a little bit too.
Are there certain areas that you feel that investors should stay out of for cash flow reasons?
It's more based on zip codes, I would say, but like if you're looking for generalization, um, there's probably two zip codes in McKees Rocks you want to avoid, like areas around Stowe. Um,
I would say not. I don't think you could eliminate an entire zip code, because the boundaries here they're very irregular, I can say. There are some certain neighborhoods, you could have three different neighborhoods that fall under the same zip code. And one of those neighborhoods could be a very like more high-end neighborhood, and then the same zip code can have a neighborhood that is mostly public housing. Like the zip code that I'm in is like where there's Crafton Heights, Green Tree, and Elliott. You know, and Elliott has a lot of public housing, and then Crafton would be like a Class C neighborhood. We really don't have a lot of there's not like a lot of Class A neighborhood here, I wouldn't say, right?
there's only a few markets, yes.
Yeah.
Squirrel Hill, Mount Lebanon.
Mount Lebanon is right down the hill, and that's what's so difficult with this area is you could be in a higher class neighborhood, and a mile and a half away can be a world of difference. It's it's a very short distance, completely changes what the neighborhood looks like. It's within a very short distance. And our demographics here are such a wide variety, and you don't have to travel far for it to drastically change.
But I would say the areas you probably should avoid, especially if you're out of state, I would say the Rocks, you could probably 2/3 of it is fine. The 1/3 you want to stay out of. I wouldn't consider anything in probably half of Wilkinsburg. What's the area right next to it? The Hill District?
The Hill District, Point Breeze.
Point Breeze. I would just avoid those altogether. I wouldn't bother going in. Braddock.
Parts of the north side, Northview Heights, definitely not Northview Heights.
I would say out Mexican War Streets, but not because of it being a bad area. It's actually, I'd say it's probably a good area.
I actually wouldn't avoid that at all. So we have a
Well,
major
no, the reason why I would have,
and we have a lot of people that work in the hospitals that rent there. Like a lot of the residents, the very new doctors that are up there.
but the reason why I would avoid the Mexican War Streets is just because of the fact that it's considered a historic district. So if you have like a window, for example, a window normally would be like a $300 repair. It might be closer to $1,200 because you might have to get one with running glass and a bunch of excessive paperwork, and you have to prove that you did it correctly to the history of that area. So that's why, like I said, it's not a bad area by any means, but I would avoid it just because of the historical aspect, because I don't feel like paying out the extra money to do that kind of stuff.
Yes, it is.
So most of those properties down there, though, Jack, they a lot of those are turning into Airbnbs and like just overnight properties. There's people that are really fixed up because a lot of those were very old mansions. And actually, the community college that's right by that area, those were all mansions at one point that they turned into the community college. Beautiful historic buildings. But yeah, I know a lot of those have been turned into Airbnbs. They're
Very
beautiful,
interesting.
beautiful properties.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Beaver Falls area, like the Aliquippa, Rochester, that side?
So we almost
We're
had a
not far
guest.
from there actually right now.
Yeah, we almost had a guest on today. She just got her real estate license. If she pops on, we're going to congratulate her and give her a shout out and stuff. She's a friend of ours. That area is okay, but you really have to know what you're doing. Like me personally, I wouldn't invest there without the advice of Gail, who is the person that just got a real estate license, because she's lived there most of her life.
So Beaver Falls is actually mostly a Class B area. Those are all very big, really nice houses, Beaver Falls. Aliquippa is that's probably the, I don't know a good way to say this, it's the worst town that's in Beaver County.
It's the top 5 worst ones in the state for about 10 years running.
But besides that, and
Yeah, so avoid Aliquippa. Monaca's hit and miss,
Yeah, so Gail
but
actually
it's no
lives in
worse than,
Monaca. She lives in
yeah.
Monaca, so yeah, it's more of a country feel in parts of Monaca is large, big houses on large properties, and then other areas are row houses. So it's really, a diverse demographics that you get in Monaca, just what side of the town you're on.
Can you tell us more about how you go about finding deals? Do you just use the MLS, or have you done off-market deals as well?
Most of them so far have been MLS. I've had a few off markets come to me, but it's just never worked out. Like I had one last year that fell into my lap, but I couldn't find anyone to do the backing on the mortgage. They were asking 40,000 for it, and it probably needed about, I think it came to about 13,000 in repairs, but nothing was stopping it from being rented from day one, other than like a piece of paneling just to cover up some nails.
Hmm.
It looked like the previous person pulled a piece of paneling off, and then just they did the plumbing repair for the bathroom behind it, and then they just didn't put it back on. And it's like everything else for the most part, seemed fine other than the roof, and that was 8K right there. Besides the roof, I want to say the rest of the repairs were around less than $1,000, and I was just saying 13,000 just to give myself a little leeway with that. But yeah, I couldn't find anyone to write the mortgage just because it was such a low valued mortgage. But it would have, after I was done with it, it would have easily appraised for like 65
Hmm.
once every 5 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
How much would that place have rented for?
That place, after I was done, would have rented for close to $900 a month.
Can you tell us more about inspections in the city?
That is up in a different county. So most of mine is done in Armstrong and Butler County. And so their whole look on it is more or less, if you can go ahead and rent it out and stuff, but eventually at some point you're going to have to do an inspection, and you'll have to let them know, have them come in to the inspection. I haven't had them show up yet, but you can rent it out while you're waiting. So my viewpoint is, I told them once, I shouldn't have to keep reminding them, so I'm renting it out. They know it's a rental.
Mm-hmm.
So these areas he's talking about, strong, it's about 30 to 40 minutes. It's not far.
Did you guys try to do private lending, or were you just trying to get a mortgage through a bank?
I was trying to do anything I could, and private money probably would have been the best option, but I didn't have the network to really get anyone in there to do it. Now I have a few people I would probably ask, but yeah, that property ended up just slipping through my fingers just because I couldn't find anyone to do it.
Oh, that's too
I'd say
bad,
probably
man.
your average rental in this area probably costs around like 100 to 150. And then it just depends on whether you're doing small multifamily or if you're doing single family homes on what they'll rent for.
Was there a specific like cash on cash or cash flow per door you're looking at to start out, or
I usually try to I usually try to find deals that are between 12 and like 15% yield.
I like the sound of that. Thanks. How is the insurance and property taxes out there?
It depends on which county you're in, to be honest. As far as the insurance, so like I want to say, depending on the size of the lot, depending on the value of the building and everything else. I know like my properties, they usually run about $1,200 a year. The one in Butler, I'm not too sure about because I haven't gotten one yet. I'm still trying to renovate it or finish that up the renovation on that one still. Insurance is pretty easy. I like to honestly use Erie Insurance. They're fantastic. They usually don't question you too much with insurance claims and stuff.
They're the best prices for auto and in this area. No one can beat them.
I don't know if this is true, but I reached out to Erie and they said they only do for occupants.
Oh no, I got Erie for all the rentals.
Did you start off owner occ and then changed over to rentals and they still kept it, or you've had some just off
No,
the start?
no, they were just rentals to begin with.
Okay, that's good to know. Maybe I was talking to the wrong broker then.
Which brokerage did you use?
It was, I totally forget the guy's name, but it was some guy's name that I had found. And then he was asking me all these questions and he's like, oh yeah, for Erie, we can't quote that because you're not owner occupant for that property.
I would say either call me and Cynthia both have different like we just happen to both have the same insurance with different brokers before we met. So I'd say call either one of our people. We've both been very happy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can either call John Seebeck. Um,
My guy's Tony Rosati. His agency is Cartsonas. Kartsonas. The agency he works for. Tony Rose.
Oh, thanks so much.
Dealt with him for years.
yeah, I had to use what was that one that Sheffield or no, not Sheffield, Shelley or whatever that one is that Zuber has been talking about for a while. I had to use them for the one in Butler because it's a remodel. I couldn't find anyone to cover the remodel because it included the roof and some electrical. But once I'm finished with all that, I'm switching it back to Erie too.
One thing that I've really liked about Erie too is, Jack, I don't know if you recall this, one time you were having an issue with one of your policies or had a question and you called my agent, you called Tony and he was able to answer your questions. You know, they're able to look up your policy no matter what agency they work with.
Yeah, my office had an emergency of some sort and they shut down early, I think because of like a water main break or something. So I called her person and he was able to answer my policy questions and stuff. and vice versa. Like one time I was in like a no or very limited cell phone reception area. I was trying to get her vehicle to pass inspection, and for some reason it would not let me look up her insurance provider where I got mine in my phone. So I was able to call them and have them email Cynthia's insurance card directly to the shop.
Tony's very responsive. I mean, just speaking of him, I can only speak about his work, not the entire organization, but anytime I've asked him for something, he gets back to me very. He answers calls, emails.
So where is this drive? What area is this in?
This is Clinton Township in Beaver County. We're probably
Oh.
20 minutes from Beaver Falls?
Yeah.
Half an hour.
Mhm. So this is about, I would say we're probably about 10 minutes from Monaca and about maybe 25 from Beaver Falls. This is Clinton Park, and then the area around here, the town is called Hookst. So it's weird. We have a lot of the little townships, and like when we were talking about McKees Rocks earlier, so there's McKees Rocks and there's Robinson Township McKees Rocks. So it's the same area, same zip code, drastic difference. You can buy a house for $30,000 and you could buy a house for $1 million in the same zip code. And we have a lot of areas that are like around the Pittsburgh area. McKees Rocks is actually not part of Pittsburgh, but if you look at the map, it looks like it's right in the center of Pittsburgh, but it's just how irregular what's within city limits and what's in a township city.
Yeah,
That
it's
changes.
funny. Oh, I'm sorry.
That changes what you pay in taxes, like your wage taxes. So if you work here, if you work within the city, there is a 3% wage tax, and if you fall out of city limits, it's only a 1%.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like while I'm looking at the MLS, I I always try to guess like at least the area, but then a lot of the times I forget, so I have to go to Google Maps and I gotta double check, make sure at least my geographical areas are right that I'm guessing. I'm like, okay, I think this is by Munhall. No, I think this is Cranberry area, or it's like I'm always trying to guess before I actually look it up.
So yeah, this is again, Pittsburgh's are one of these areas where you could be on the same road, and if you travel the same road for 10 miles, you'll be in the city and then out of the city and back in the city and back out in the city within 10 miles because of how irregular the border is. Same county, but just in and out of where the city limits are. I've always joked that I've lived within city limits for the majority of the time that I've been here, and you pay that extra money in wage taxes. But I said this time of year in the winter, when we do have a harsh winter, you can tell when you're in city limits or not, because if you're in the city, your roads are clear.
Well, plus in the city, and Cindy, you know more about this than I do, so I'll let you talk about this more. But like if you live in a city for so many years, in all the area you have like Butler Life, but Pittsburgh was the one that started with Pittsburgh Life and other stuff like that. And what other things do they have for their retirees here in Pittsburgh? So I'm not familiar with everything. Your dad takes advantage of some of the programs.
Pennsylvania has so many senior programs that most of them are state run. It doesn't have to do specifically with the city. I mean, Pittsburgh has some of their own things, but a lot of them, every state programs, and a lot of that is run by the whatever they have a state lottery, that's state programs. But I mean, Pittsburgh, we have Access, which delivers it's transportation for our senior citizens. So if they need a ride to the store or go to a doctor's appointment, they can schedule in advance, and old van will pick them up to be able to transport them to areas. And it's not just for seniors, it's for anybody that has a disability, anybody that has a disability. It will give them access to transportation where to go. You were specifically talking about life, the care, the healthcare.
No, I was more specifically talking about the programs that are just offered by the city that aren't offered in other places. So
I don't know that I know a whole ton about. I mean, there's so many programs that I mean, and a lot of different cities have them, which are different food and clothing. It's just any of the when they do like the social determinants of health screening. A lot of the people that live anywhere within the anybody that needs any type of assistance, we have a lot of assistance, a lot of clothing, furniture assistance, healthcare assistance. We have a lot of resources here, and specifically in Pittsburgh, it's one of the better areas for that. I think that's what attracts a lot of refugees that we get in the area is we have a higher tax that we pay here in the city. Again, we have benefits from that because, like I said, our roads are always clear. So we have a lot of, public works. If we have an issue with water main break, it's not really long. It doesn't take long to get issues fixed, but all those resources that we have, anybody that's really struggling with income, that it's really, like Jack said earlier, it's like a big town. It's a city, but it's more like cumulative of towns. So it's more community based where we have such a wide variety of social demographics here that everybody really helps. And that's where a lot of the funding and the tax dollar goes to, is to make sure that it's struggling. We really, I mean, we still do have our issues with our homeless population here. I think a lot of areas do, but we do have a lot of things that the community does. And I think that's really, one of the biggest things with we have people that just, again, most of those people are because they have some disability, or they need social security, or they're elderly folks that are tired and just do things. We really make sure that they're taken. For people that have worked their entire lives and have paid to help other people out of their tax money, the city really makes sure that people to work. So I did want to bounce back to something that were just things that we have in the area. And I'm talking a lot about our senior citizens because we do have, like I said, we have a lot of snowbirds here because we have a lot of our elderly population live here in Pittsburgh and Allegheny County because we have all these programs for our senior citizens. Then when it snows, they go down to Florida and they come. Because one of the other things, we have Community College of Allegheny County. There are 6 of them in Allegheny County. And they have both credit and credit classes. And for our seniors that are 60 years or older, all non-credit classes are free to them. So they want to take an art class, a computer class, or learn a new language, you have the choice of taking a credit class. Photography, these are all things that over the age of 60 that's within the county. It's free access to those.
the other thing is too, I just remembered now because of snow. So they have, or I guess landscaping crews and stuff that'll come and help cut your grass if you're above 65.
Right, my dad.
And salt your driveway and all that kind of stuff. And that's part of the perks here in the city that you don't have outside the city.
Again, that's why we pay those higher taxes. It takes care of. And it's not just for seniors. That's for anybody that's on disability. So anybody that has something wrong with them and they can't physically do something or have something type of mental issues. can help do things, certain things that's covered for their house, lawn care, snow, stuff. Every 2 weeks, I think they do lawn care. I have an aunt and dad that are on that.
I've kind of wondered in the past what it takes to become one of the crew guys or one of the landscaping crews that does that type of work. That's
You know you're getting paid because it's the city that's paying you.
yeah, like you're getting paid, and all you have to do is just show up and cut the grass and leave.
You don't have to do occupancy permits, yeah?
Depends on where you're at. So Crafton and like the city of Pittsburgh, you do. Other town, a lot of the other city like towns of Pittsburgh, you don't. But you're gonna have to look at that individually because I just there's too many. There'd be too many for me to try and keep track of all that.
You just reminded me of something else. So he just mentioned there's 3 different Craftons that are right next to each other, 3 different zip codes. So we have Crafton, Crafton Ingram, Crafton Heights. That's Crafton and Crafton Ingram are their chips, and Crafton Heights is actually. Yeah, and it's like it's freaking area when you look at the borders. And the thing is, I've gotten used to looking at street signs. I can tell what color the street sign is. That's how I know what township I'm in. Everything is blue. If your street name is written in blue, your city changes colors. Green is green street. If you're brown, your lettering changes. That's how you know.
And Primonti Bros, is that solid or is that overhyped?
I didn't hear what you said, Mikey.
For Primonti Bros?
So that's in Craft. That's actually right on the border of when you're leaving Crafton and you're going to Robinson Township, McKees Rocks. That's on Route 60 that's known as Steubenville Pike.
Which is the road we're about to be turning onto.
Yeah, we're going to pass there actually, right? We're
Here,
going to pass.
we'll give you a prime example of what she's talking about.
Yeah.
So right now we're in Robinson.
Yeah, we're in Robinson.
Yeah, Robinson.
This is Route 60, which is known as Steubenville Pike, which when we get further down the road, it'll be called Steubenville. This area is not far from the airport. We're about to the airport in Robinson.
I can't believe I paid $3.39 for gas yesterday, and it's $3.09 right there.
Do you use the Waze app?
No, I used to, but I got away from it when I stopped driving for a living.
I only use it. I only like that because you can search for the cheapest gas stations in your area.
There's another app that's really good at doing that. The same technology, but it doesn't have the navigation. So you just want to get every gas station in a certain radius, whether it's on or convenient or not.
So where we were in Robinson is part of Pittsburgh. So that's Pittsburgh, but you see the signs just changed. I don't know if you guys can't really see them. We are now in Robinson Township, which is McKees Rocks. So this is no longer Pittsburgh. So we just left Pittsburgh 2 seconds ago. And now we're in McKees Rocks, Robinson Township. That's our street signs. I know it's hard to see them, but they're green with white writing on them. And then when we get down the road here, they'll turn blue again. And in Pittsburgh, we're on the same road.
Don't worry, it only sounds confusing because it is.
We have a lot of shopping centers. Anybody that's looking in Crafton, so here in Robinson, that's where a lot of our major shopping, there's a lot of major shopping centers. There's a big Walmart there. And we have a really big mall that's there. There's a lot of our malls around Pittsburgh have been dying. Nobody shops really at a mall anymore.
Well, I think that's nationwide.
Yeah, but Robinson has held strong for decades. They still have a lot of business there.
Yeah, I can't foresee that one really closing really anytime soon. It's like how the Monroeville Mall used to be, all these shootings and all these fights started happening there. It ended up becoming a place for people to do that kind of stuff. And the mall was doing great up until that, and now no one goes there, and it's about to be the next one that's going to die.
So all of this here still is Robinson Township, McKees Rocks. So again, off to the left of us, like even if we make a left at this light up here, the homes back there range anywhere from like anywhere from about 250 to over $1 million there. There's housing complexes back there. I have a friend that lives in townhouses back. Townhouses are between $400,000 and $800,000. Then there are some other houses that are older houses. Some of the complexes are very new. They're still building down there. And then, again, within that same zip code is actually McKees Rocks. You can buy a house for $30,000.
Obviously, you should probably avoid the cheaper homes.
Yeah, you can't. That's why you can't really always just go by typing in the zip code. But this particular road, so we're leaving, when we leave Robinson Township, McKees Rocks, we'll be back in the city. And if you really keep driving down the road for another 6 miles, you're back in McKees Rocks, but you're in the not so nice end of McKees Rocks, but you're back in that same zip code again. So we just left 15205. We're in 15136 right now. As soon as we cross this light, we're back to 15205 again. It's very irregular.
Do you guys know anyone that invests out here? Is that why you're interested?
Yes, my cousin invests in the area. We're looking at different markets all across the country.
Okay.
He said that he bought a fourplex for $210,000. I could be wrong, but I thought he said that it is in zip code 15221.
I've heard that zip code before. I'm just having trouble placing it.
So I'm looking at the 15221, and it says it's 15. When you Google, oh, that's Wilkinsburg. I would not be a fan of that area. That's Wilkinsburg.
Yeah.
There are some really nice old houses in Wilkinsburg, but so I mean, you could get a decent place in Wilkinsburg. I would say the majority of what's there, I would stay away from. That is in that area that's right by Point Breeze and Braddock. So it's really the whole area surrounding that also are, it's safety. It's an area that safety issues, and there's not a lot of parks. So there's not a lot of really good resources for kids. There's not a lot of shopping for groceries there. And it's like one of the more higher crime areas all around there. Like that whole group of neighborhoods that are all in that area all have a higher crime rate. The pizza shop that we started out, this is Crafton Ingram, and this is not part of
What about the North Versailles? Is that, what do you think of that area?
North Versailles is another area that's higher crime rate. It's more country there though, so and a lot of the houses are older, so it's not like the houses are more closely spaced together. They're more older houses, and it's a lot of more lower income, the people that live there.
Okay.
It's another area that it's hard to do shopping if you don't have a vehicle. There's not like a lot of local places to get food, grocery shopping, limited schools. That's about 45 minutes from Pittsburgh. It's very close to Westmoreland County. That's still Allegheny. Crest this hill here, we'll be back in Pittsburgh, which is right here. So that blue sign there's is what which is part of it. I just want to illustrate how crazy the borders are here. And so you have 3 different Craftons that have 3 different zip codes, but you can have 3 different neighborhoods share the same zip code, and it has no rhyme or reason. the borders of our neighborhoods. But a lot of major cities around the U.S. are based on squares, and because we have rivers here, they say our downtown areas are confusing because everything is built around the river. So we have a lot of one-way streets because everything's triangular rather than being square. Like how you go to New York, and you go to New York City, and your streets all go one way, and perpendicular to that, your avenues are all another way. It's just everything's based on a triangle here. It's a one-way street. So we're still in Crafton Heights. This is the area that's where we're here. And if we would have went straight there, it takes you down into West End Circle, and it only takes us about 7 minutes to get to downtown Pittsburgh from here.
Something like that.
And it's hit or miss where you find, like, we wanted a country feel, but still being very close to everything in the city. And it's nice as this place that I'm at right now. My whole backyard is all woods. So, it's very, as you can see where we're driving down right now, it was very city. And then we go back, deer and turkey and fox back there.
She's always joking with me because I hunt. She's like, you need to go out and shoot those deer behind our house. I tell her, I was like, I feed those deer. I was like, they're like our pet deer.
Live on a nice quiet dead end.
Was everyone going to hop on Matt's?
I probably will, yeah. Is it time, Mikey?
Yeah, he's starting right now.
That's perfect timing, huh?
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. And hopefully we didn't scare you off and you guys will come back.
Yeah. No.
We're here every other Thursday. at 7:30.
Yeah, thanks. And
Yeah.
please like and subscribe for Jack's Business Talk channel.